I should practice something low.
Well, hi, everybody. Sorry for the delay. Welcome to the 100th episode of Bob and Chad. Nice to see you all here. Welcome to our special guest, Ken Schrader, for our 100th episode. Hi, Chad. How's everything? And where's Machine?
Oh, it's been good. We're busy wrapping up the build season. The season's getting rolling, so it's a little less chaotic here on Mondays now. Once everything, everybody's got stuff built, and now we focus on fixing Monday and Tuesdays now instead of building new cars. So, but we've been pretty busy. We're trying to get our factory support stuff dialed in so we can head to the racetrack and support our team.
So how about you, Kenny? You've had a great start to the year with your modified.
Year started off good. The last weekend was it wasn't a little rough. It was terrible. But the year has started off real good. And we had, looks like we're here in Missouri. We got some decent weather now. So, yeah, we're having fun, Bob, just as much as ever. That's the problem. I still enjoy doing it like I did. If I didn't, I could friggin' quit. But I'm having too much fun still.
Well, that's good. No reason to retire.
Well, you got to be a lot older than me to retire.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not near that age yet.
No, you got a long way to go.
Yeah, a long way.
Yeah, I figured you'll probably do this till you're at least 90, don't you think?
I don't know. Anytime I think I'm getting old, I just run down Talladega and talk with Red Farmer some, and then go back out, reset, go again.
Go again. I see. Awesome. So what's new and exciting? Anything? We got some races in here in Iowa last weekend. They had that stock car shootout at Marshalltown on Thursday and Friday, and Kelly Shire won that. Pretty impressive. Did an awesome job. Looked real good, and they had a good show, good crowd. Boone Speedway opened up to their weekly show on Friday or on Saturday night. A little windy, but it was nice weather, so it was a good show. Racetrack, they start an hour earlier, and with the sun and with the wind, that hurt them a little bit. They had a little trouble keeping up with the racetrack. It got pretty dry, but it was pretty good.
Well, then, that place knows how to take care of a racetrack quick. I mean, as many times as I've never been to the Nationals yet, but I know as many times as they farm it there, they've got that down to a science.
Yeah, that's quite the deal. The way they do that deal, and they farmed it quite a bit the other night too, but they just couldn't quite keep up with it. I think the problem was we had predicted for rain earlier, so I think they were a little cautious about putting much water on it earlier. And I mean, they did the best. They still had a smooth racetrack. I mean, it was a good show. Definitely a real good show. It was around the top, pretty fast. Definitely good show. Mike Nichols, is Kenny finally ready to come race at Super Nationals? And if so, we could consider racing one of our cars. Love you, Kenny. That's from Mike Nichols.
Well, I would, if I was going to go up there and run one, I'd definitely want to be in one of his cars. Yeah, but it just hasn't been on our schedule yet. And we do trips with Federated Auto Parts where we take cars to different tracks. I mean, we go all over the country, and they bring out customers and they drive them and stuff. And we always that's the weekend after Labor Day. And we always have a trip that week. I think, isn't there a late model special like Labor Day Monday, and then it starts?
Oh, it could be.
Super Nationals. I'm pretty sure it is. But yeah. we're always got a trip that week.
Jim,
same week as Eldora, isn't it? The World 100. Yeah.
Jim wants to know why you don't do any sprint cars anymore.
Because I'm going to be 69 years old next month. They don't turn over any easier than they used to. So, we ran a little 500 2 years ago. We didn't run it last year. but that was the only thing we've run in a long time. Haven't run one on dirt in forever, and that's just fine. I watched them the last Friday and Saturday at our track there in Missouri, and I enjoyed every second of watching them, but I didn't want to be in one.
Yeah, they definitely take that racing thing pretty serious.
Yeah, they do. It's a young man's game. I mean, I talked to Shots about that. Shots wound up winning Saturday night, and he put a butt kicking on him. I mean, he beat him bad, but it's not getting any easier.
Yeah, definitely. That's the way it looks. Well, even the modified game's getting pretty intense. I mean,
Everybody's got the same stuff. Same equipment. You might have different chassis or different this or that, but you can buy all that knowledge, and there's too many phone numbers that you can call to get help and get all the stuff you bought headed in the right direction. Now it still takes someone, the right person to bolt it all together and make sure everything's right. But it's a lot different than it was like when I first started driving for you, Bob. And a lot of guys were still building cars and that, and those days have kind of went, to the past.
Yeah, we found that picture of that first mod when you drove Kelly's modified after you won Talladega 500, and you came to Iowa July 31st, 1988, and run Kelly's car at Mason City and won with that after you won at Talladega. That was pretty cool.
I didn't remember what year that was. I was trying to think. It had to be somewhere around there. I knew it was the late 80s. Well, I know when I drove, whether it was Kelly's car or your car, those things just always hauled ass, and it was fun. And time, you were used to running the Cup car every week. So when you went to a half mile, it just didn't seem like you were going that fast. So I know we had a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Never won Knoxville though. We broke leading that damn thing, but
You broke leading it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kelly ended up winning it. Kelly was running second, and you were leading it.
Yeah. Oh well, you'll have that in this business.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
So when was your last Cup win?
I'm not even sure you were alive.
I think I was there. Atlanta, 1991. Is that right?
Yeah. Holy hell. Probably Dover.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was Dover.
Atlanta and Dover. Can you believe it? We won our last race in 91, and I milked that job till 2013.
Jesus.
That's my biggest accomplishment in motorsports.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
We had some good runs, but we broke a lot, just for whatever reason. But man, I had fun doing it. I get aggravated now sometimes, and you get older, and then you're always aggravated by some of the kids. And I'm a big fan of all the kids because they're doing just a phenomenal job, and they're driving so hard the whole race. I mean, I think the NASCAR sport right now, I know there'll be a lot of people don't agree with me, but I think it's better than it's ever been. They drive hard all day long now. We didn't used to have to do that, because you had to worry about still having something that rolled at 450 miles because the parts weren't as good. You couldn't run them that hard. But they do a hell of a job. But when they're complaining, it bothers me because it's like, wow, making a living driving a race car and you can find something to complain about. That I just struggle with that.
Yeah, well, that's just the era of time.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, it's like these young kids that get these brand new modifieds and stuff that go, and they do a good job, but they don't understand how this all came about.
Yeah, but you know what? They don't need to. It doesn't make any difference. They don't need to understand.
Nope.
sometimes I wish that I didn't understand. I wouldn't be so worried about bending stuff, you know?
Yeah,
But wasn't worried about this week. Yeah, they really just don't need to understand anymore. And there's spare parts in the trailer.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt about
People
that.
call on our Mondays, right, Chad? Buy that stuff.
Yeah, Mondays are chaotic when people run into each other.
Yeah.
No doubt. Aaron was looking to tighten up my corner entry. Sorry about the dog. Anyway, Aaron is looking to tighten up on corner exit and on an IMCA on a sport mod. Should I soften the right rear spring, which is a 250, or stiffen my left front or my right front, which right front is bottoming out? Well, more than likely the bottoming out, you know, 500 is really not too bad. I mean, that, you know, you might want to stiffen that up, but more than likely if you're bottoming out, you know, there's something else going on. If it needs to be tightened up on corner exit, I still think you're probably a little stiff on that right rear spring. Maybe go to a 225. You might have to try a 525 or a 550 in the right front. It just all depends on your driving style and how you try to how you want the car to tighten up on it. Bill says, "Love you, Kenny." Jim says, "Who else besides Pat Walsh had an impact on your racing career?"
Oh, well, Pat Walsh, obviously huge. Uh, my daddy, you know, Pat, I met Pat when I was 5. He was 10. So he wound up being like an older brother my whole life. And, his son Joey is crew chief now. There was a lot of people around the St. Louis area that helped me a bunch. Good friend Spence Bach helped me. We still see him at the races. He was out here last week. Very good friend. Good Tom Hannick. There's a bunch of guys right around St. Louis area. The Siva Kings I drove for in some USAC races. Without them, I would have never got the opportunity to go down south. So we were very, very fortunate. A couple people I drove sprint cars and midgets for in the St. Louis area that got us some good breaks, you know, to get a different ride with, you know, with a little better equipment or something. But, you know, you always think about what's that most important day in your career. We can think of about 4 or 5 of them that day made something else happen.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
I don't know if there's going to be any more of those days. They're starting to get far and few between.
Yeah, I understand. My daughter says I have a lot of stories about Ken Schrader. Do you have any stories about Bob you want to tell?
Yes,
Well,
finally.
you know what? Nothing good can come from telling old stories much. Yeah, I just know that I'd go up there and I was driving and playing, and Bob was serious. I know one good one though, Bob. When we ran Hawkeye Downs when it was brand new, and we had a brake problem. I don't remember what it was. And it was a new modified you built. You said something about the residual valve in the master cylinder. I said, I don't know what the hell it is or what it does, but no one ever down there says we need to change the residual valve. So I'd take that damn thing out. And we did, and we wound up winning.
Yeah, we won quite a few races at Hawkeye Downs with the pavement car. That was pretty cool. And then we put the Goodwrench body on it, and Mr. Dale came and drove it 1 week up there, so that was pretty cool. Let's see.
What made it a pavement car? Just the tires then?
Basically, it had different spindles and stuff on it, but pretty much just the tires.
Yeah. Ours are our play cars are dirt and asphalt, but we don't change tires.
No.
We don't change tires. But that's one thing, you talk about things that changed. I think having dirt cars and pavement cars has hurt us. We used to, I liked when they were just race cars.
Yeah.
Everything got too advanced when we did that, but you can't stop that stuff.
Not really. I mean, you just can't stop evolution. There's just nothing else you can do. Bill Bach says, Bob, I'm Spence's son. Billy that Kenny just spoke of followed Kenny forever.
Yeah, Spence's son Billy has helped us also. With Spence, okay, I saw him Saturday night at Peebly. He handed me my helmet the first night I ever drove a race car. And he had worked on that car a bunch, when Dad and him and some others were building it. But Spence has been he's done so much for us, I can never repay him. Our shop here in St. Louis that we're in now, it was a Morton building we had put up, and then Spence basically did everything inside it.
Awesome.
Done a lot of work for us.
Cool. So what about the family? What's Dorothy and Sheldon doing now?
Well, Dorothy has a son named Ford, and they're coming in towards the end of June, spend about a week with us. She writes curriculum for the school districts. I don't know what the hell that is, but that's what she does. And the son works at a bank in Charlotte.
Oh,
Neither one of them liked the racing. I mean, it's not that they didn't like it. They went all the time, but after thinking about it, they didn't really have a choice. That's where they went. And but I'm as much as I love it, I'm thrilled that I don't have a child racing, just because I know, and I mean I love it, but I know the time and effort and financial responsibility it is, and I know what the chances of it ever making any money is. So I just I'm glad that they're not ate up with it.
yeah. No, I can completely understand. Jeffrey he says, I remember Kenny running fifth at Oskaloosa. Officials ask you need a yellow, and Kenny replies, no, I got nothing for them.
Well, I don't know how they'd asked me unless it was after the race, if I needed one or not. But no, sometimes the yellow will just give you that half a straightaway that you got behind coming from farther back in the field or something. But sometimes it won't do you any good. I like Oskaloosa. Went there a couple times.
Oskaloosa is a nice racetrack.
Yeah. It's still running though, right?
Yep.
Oskaloosa.
Yep.
Yeah. But I don't think they're running A-mods, are they?
I don't know. I don't think they are either. I think they've got
Yeah.
more of the support classes, and I think they're sport mods their main class, or the stock cars, one or the other.
Yeah. We have the here in our UMP tracks. It's not called a sports mod. It's called a UMP Pro mod, but it's a 3-link with the 602, and you can run a different engine, but it's 200-pound weight brake with 602. So everything's primarily 602s, and that class is really taken off. And I love them cars. They just feel a lot more like the older cars, like when I first started driving for you.
Yep. Yeah, they really are. I mean, they're pretty simple cars.
Mm-hmm.
I still like that good old style car myself, but I kind of, grew up, so to speak, with the 2-link or 3-link type cars, and so I'm kind of partial to some of the sport mod stuff myself now. Still.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on underneath them other cars.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And you
Too many
change.
holes for me in that rear suspension. I don't need
Yeah.
all those holes.
And boy, they can be finicky as all get out, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jim wants to know if you still speak to Rick Hendrick at all.
Quite a bit. HenryCars.com is on the sale panel of our cars. Talked to him last week. Text him and he called me back. Because I was surprised he wasn't at Martinsville. You know, they had their 40th year anniversary of their first win, and then they won again. Had a 1-2-3 finish. But I knew he'd had a knee operated on and replaced, and it wasn't. Well, he didn't want to be out on it yet. So, but yeah, Rick's he's a very good friend. He's a great guy.
He's done an awful lot for racing.
He's done a lot and continues to do so. And I did a deal in first week of March with Rick and Jeff Gordon and Terry Labonte and Dale Jr., myself, Ricky Craven was there, a bunch of older Hendrick drivers. And Jeff Gordon he's doing so much at Hendrick Motorsports now, which we talked about it at length, and I'm like, I'm surprised you're that involved with that thing. And he said he just loves it. He loves the business side of it. So, you know, it's the organization right now. I mean, there's some other real good ones, but they're doing tremendous start for their year.
Yeah, those guys are doing pretty good. Yeah, I think Kyle would have had a pretty good chance of that deal Sunday if it wouldn't have been for losing that wheel.
Yeah, that's a pretty big deal, though. You lose a wheel. Yeah,
pretty big deal.
Yeah, it used to be when one nut came off, it wasn't no big problem, but it seems to be a big problem now.
Yeah, looks like it.
Looks like it. Yeah.
Okay, let's see. I got to back up here. We lost a few. Jim says he still has his license plate on the back of his dually, Schrader number 25. Jeremy says, hi, Kenny. Huge fan of your racing dirt. Do you remember racing against Ron Jones?
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. Ron was from Minnesota, right? Yeah. I was talking to somebody and they brought up Ron's name the other day. Yeah. I saw Ron a couple years ago. But yeah, Ron was always fast.
Yeah, he was always fast.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind. He was a consistent winner when he was racing.
Mm-hmm.
Jim, my father and I followed Kenny around the country when he was racing sprint cars. Awesome. Marie, will you be running the little 500 this year?
No, I won't be running it this year. We've Federated Scott's doing stuff that week, and the car I really, really, really wanted to drive was my buddies, the Seymours, that I drove for a bunch. They've got a young, good little driver, Jake Trainer, that he won the race last year. He's just been doing a phenomenal job. I went up there last year, got to go up and hang out with him and, you know, be part of the deal. And it just, no, not going to race it.
Chris says, Kenny, you're still having fun racing. Kenny Schrader is my role model. That's not as bad as it might sound.
Yeah. He might need to raise his standards a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, but one thing about it, at least we know he'd have fun.
Yeah, well,
There was never a shortage of having fun.
Yeah, that's too much work not to enjoy it.
I don't remember what year it was, but I think it was like 91. We built this brand new car, and I'd never been to Peevely at all. And so he shows up at Peevely at this racetrack, and of course I walk up and look at the racetrack, and it's half the size of normal racetracks. And my son,
that wasn't Peevely, that was Macon.
Oh, that, all right, yeah, Macon.
Yeah,
I'd
say Peevely is not.
Peevely's a good place racetrack.
Yeah.
Macon is the one. So anyway, so we go up and we look at this, and Bobby, who's like 6 years old at the time, he says, this doesn't look any bigger than the go-kart tracks that I raced. And I'm thinking, you're right, it doesn't. So Kenny comes over, he looks at the car, he looks in it, he says, there's no scratches on the floor. I said, this thing's all brand new. I said, yeah. Well, he takes it out, and we make sure we take the right quarter panel of everything off, the paint and everything off the right quarter panel, and the bumper and hot laps. And he says, well, at least it's not new anymore.
Yeah, yeah. Macon's a 5th mile, and it's it's a lot of fun. It's still it's going good. They made some improvements to it last year. Chris Kearns owns it, and they've continued to do a lot of work there, and he's got it looking real good.
Cool. Yeah, I'll never forget that. I walked up and I looked at that and I'm going, holy shit, this is a little racetrack.
Yeah. Hell, their late miles, Lucas, they didn't go there last year. Lucas Oil runs there, has for a number of years, and it runs 3 wide around that place. With the late miles.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, good racing. I mean, it was an excellent show. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Kathy says that she misses you coming to Marshalltown. And Kenny running any IMCA stuff around Iowa or Wisconsin this year? Johnny Whitman.
Well, we're going to Bloomfield, Iowa Thursday night. I don't know for sure what we're going to do Friday and Saturday yet. I'm sure we're going to go to 141 again for their, I think that's June. It's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday deal, right in the middle of the month. And we're still, we're down to, we probably don't have a half a dozen weekends left that we don't know where we're going. And we need to do a better job putting that schedule out, I guess. But I mean, I know we're going to be at Bloomfield Thursday night.
Awesome. Jim wants to know, were you very close to Bobby Labonte?
I mean, we got, I won't say close. We all got along and stuff. It wasn't, he was one of your guys you like going to the motorhome and hanging out with. The last couple of years when we did that SRX stuff, Bobby we did all the testing for him for 2 years, and then we got to run the 1 year, and spent a lot of time with Bobby then, and really enjoyed it. Talked to him last week. I guess it was last week because his daddy had passed away. But the Labonte family, they're a lot of fun. Terry's so quiet and stuff until you get to know him a little bit. Then he's not so quiet. And like after the races, he'd be smiling at you, when he hits you. he's got a little bit of a temper.
Question for Bob on the show is I can't make it during live. What's the effect of shortening? Oh yeah, and actually I've got this question on here. I was gonna bring that up anyway. What's the effect of shortening the left rear lower bar only on the 4-bar, or even shortening both upper and lower bars on the left rear? In other words, running shorter bars on the left rear and leaving both right rear bars longer. Let's say the left side bars are 1 to 2 inches shorter than the right rear bars. Basically, it's just going to change. The biggest thing is just timing and indexing. Wouldn't you say, Chad?
Yeah, it's just going to speed it up a lot, and you get the roll steer really quick. The car will be a lot freer probably. So I'd say only reason I would ever think of even doing that would be a short track.
Yeah, it'd have to be a real short racetrack. Tim says, Kenny won at Hawkeye Downs in 1989 when my Uncle Mike blew up. Then the following year, Kenny blew up and Mike won. I don't remember us ever losing an engine at Hawkeye Downs.
We won a couple times up there with the late model.
Oh, yeah.
We took our late model up there, and I know the one time we were running a solid second. And the leader broke right at the end. I stopped and talked to him, on, the cool down lap, because I felt, I mean, you want to win, but you don't want to be at someone's, you don't mind passing them, but you don't want them blowing up and stuff.
Right.
But, we had nothing for him. He was going to win the race.
Seen Kenny race several times in Wisconsin on dirt. Glad he's still out there doing it. We are looking for some IMCA sport mod advice. The car isn't turning into the corner very good and has a push to it. We went up on the left chassis mount and got it better, but what are some other recommendations? Loosening the sport rod up on entry and have a bit off the corner. Well, actually, I need to probably put some more angle in that right lower bar is what I would actually say. If you're tight getting in, let the car rotate a little bit more. More stagger, of course, is going to help the car help turn once you get on the throttle. Softer shock on the right front might help the car turn. What's your suggestions, Chad?
Yeah, that's probably the first places I would start too.
Okay.
You missed Don if you go back a ways there. Don Schaefer, I think. Starting 4-bar angles.
Oh. Nice to see you join the show, Kenny. USRA A-Mod. What's your advice where to start 4-bar angles? Coilover and spring in front on the right rear and shock in front with spring on the slider behind. What's your suggestions, Kenny?
You got to be kidding. You know better. You know me better than that.
Text Joey quick.
You said, I don't care where they're at. You just put them someplace. I'll drive it and tell you if we need to be tighter or freer.
Well, personally, I would say, the angle wise, I mean, we always run 18 degrees on the right upper. The right lower is usually pretty well level. Left upper is about 28 degrees, so that it's about 50 or 45 to 50 in dynamic. And the right lower, usually I like to see it about 7, or the left lower about 7 degrees. Is pretty good starting spots. And then you can kind of drive around it. What would you suggest, Chad?
Yeah, that's a pretty standard starting location, I'd say.
Needs to call whoever built the car, get them a starting spot. But I know you can take anybody's car and get close with those measurements you guys were talking. I guess that's the numbers.
Pretty standard.
Yeah.
Vic, Kenny, how is your thumb that you tried to cut off at Saginaw Speedway in California when they first introduced the trucks?
Yeah, it was Monroe Speedway, Evergreen Speedway in Monroe, Washington. But it's still sharp. I didn't try to cut it off. I was very successful. Yeah, it was not a failed attempt.
Mike, one of the favorite races was at Brownstown. Two of my buddies were running first and second. Kenny and Ken Schrader was on top of Herman, was on the bottom. Well, Schrader thought that he was on the top and went around on the top half-mile racetrack. Lots of laughs. I think afterwards, Schrader told me he was nuts.
I don't remember that particular night, but hopefully we didn't make anyone too mad.
That was Mike Harrison on that.
Well, that was Mike?
Yeah.
Oh, Mike was nuts. Oh, that was that Mike.
That
Yeah.
Mike.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's the top, and then there's the Harrison top.
Yeah.
I'm a big Harrison fan. He's a heck of a racer. I just like being around him.
Dustin says, heard you used to race with John Luke back in the day. You need to come to Boone.
Yeah. Well, we've been there before, just not a lot of times. I think we've only been there maybe 3 times or so. Neat little racetrack, though.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite racetrack or two?
Kind of wherever we're going that night. You can't, you got to like all those racetracks. Otherwise, you'll get a mindset and you won't do good there. If you convince yourself you don't like it, you'll struggle there. So kind of wherever we're going.
I do not really remember you having an enemy in NASCAR. You seem to get along with everybody. Bill Elliott was mentioned in your book. Was there something there?
Oh, Bill and I always got along good. I was on my way to Florida. Oh, I guess in 23, and I spent a couple days at a buddy's place in Cartersville, Georgia, and met up with Bill on a Sunday afternoon at the Dawsonville pool room. And
Sure.
yeah, we had lunch there, and then we went over to the Georgia Motorsports Hall of Fame, which is very nice. And then we went down to Bill's shop, and it was Bill and Ernie were there, and Ernie came down, saw us, and it was we got along fine. Spencer and I ran into each other a couple times and got mad at one another, but you just got mad at one another. It's not like he was an enemy. Spencer would be one of the guys I'd want to go on vacation with because he's always he's ready to go, always fun. So no, you guys you're camped in the campground, the driver owner lot, and you're fenced in there. Buses are parked 6 feet apart. You kind of got to get along. Your kids are all out there playing in the playground and stuff. I think everyone got along better when the hotels went away and everybody started staying at the track, because when you run into somebody the week before, well, when you were out pushing the stroller or helping your kids try to figure out how to ride their bike, everybody saw one another, and it's a big traveling circus.
Let's see. Tim wants to know, orange 72 Brad Osborne car is who broke at the Hawkeye Downs that Kenny was talking about. Got it. I don't know. Michael says Kevin Schrader. I don't know what that's about. Vic, okay, thanks a lot. Jim, Kenny has a pretty good memory for an old guy.
Jesus. Aggressive.
Not as good as it used to be. It's got to be pretty good because I can remember some stuff that never happened.
Yeah.
Bob,
Yeah.
you missed one there. That James Boehm up there, just above there.
James Bailey.
No, BOHM above Harrison.
Oh, okay. On a sport mod, does lowering the right rear trailing arm on both the chassis and the rear end without changing the angle or length help with the roll center, or what would that do? Actually, it wouldn't have anything to do with the roll center because the Panhard bar is what's going to dictate the roll center in the car. All that's going to do is change the timing because you're further away from the rear end. So it's going to increase, it's going to actually increase the timing of, it's going to give you more leverage. Wouldn't you say, Chad?
Yeah, it's going to slow the cage down a little bit, so it'll delay that wheelbase change off the corner, so it'll probably, I would say, probably tighten the car up a little bit.
Yeah. We've actually ran it, keep the same angle and run it closer to the housing and found more traction. Okay.
Let me tell you what I know about roll centers. Back in 1900 something, built this car. I worked out at Bop Chassis, and he let me build a little car for myself. 9-inch rim, had a 3/4-inch bolt welder on the bottom with a Heim joint, and it went. The thing went like this over to the frame rails, and it had a triangle on the bottom of the rim housing. And I mean, so everything, it was held solid just by that one bolt. Well, the first week we broke the bolt in the Heim, so I made that a lot better. Second week we won. And when we were building it, Glenn told me, he said, Kenny, you can't have the roll center that low. And I took him in my trailer. Now, I'd never been a chassis guy. I took him in my trailer. I said, look at this, Glenn. There's a tire rack. There's a shock rack. There's a spring rack. There ain't no roll center rack. That is where it is. So if we're going to make a rack for it, it ain't that important. But I've learned it probably a little more important than I initially thought, but it worked good.
Good. Brian wants to know what has the most impact, front or rear stagger, and what part of the corner does each affect? Front stagger helps you get in, and rear stagger helps you turn when you get on the throttle. Zach, a race I'll never forget was when racing Super Dirt Week with Kenny Wallace and Kenny Schrader.
We were up there 2 years ago, and it was neat at Oswego with the dirt on it. We ran I don't know what they call them up there. They're like stock, like IMCA stock cars, kind of. And it was neat. We started stellar 24th or 6th or something. We didn't weigh, didn't have a transponder when we qualified. And so we started last in our heat. And it was a little risky, and we finished back there and started back feature, and we were running 4th. We came by for the second green, white checker restart and got turned around. It was a lot of fun. The place was really neat.
Cool. Jim Bailey wants me to tell you his last name, please.
Jim Bailey?
Yeah, he's asked quite a few questions.
Oh, well, we have a buddy, Jim Bailey, down here, lives down here. I don't know if it's him or not.
Les Willis wants to, remembering Hay Schrader. Have you ever heard of someone setting a fire in the pits to help a driver win a race? Ha ha ha. Had a pleasure of working with Kenny at Texas Motor Speedway on a Busch car. Funniest thing, told me, get the spring rubbers out of the right front. Spring rubbers cause it didn't make a damn. LOL. Still trying to figure out. I asked Smiley about it. He just shrugged his shoulders. Yep, we crashed. When we hit the water, seeping out of the racetrack actually sucked. Good times.
Smiley, I just drive for Smiley. It's, Smiley's race products, but that's not, it was his. He sold it. Smiley's real name is Charles Sitton. And they were at Devil's Bowl with Ronnie Schumann, and something happened. This was in a sprint car. Something happened, and they were buried in the C, and they come through the C, and they come through the B, and he's in the back of the A, and he's coming through, and he's out Devil Bowl heavy. He's out of tear-offs. So they started a big old fire and a little fight in the pits, and a red flag, and a couple guys got ejected, and Ronnie got to take a breath and give him some more tear-offs and restart it again. Smiley was stout, man. If you got he was all about winning that race. I talked to him a couple weeks ago. He's great, man.
Mike Nichols says, last question from us. My wife, who is also a nurse, wants to know if he's ever going to let his wife retire.
I don't know if she's ever worked. She keeps telling me she did, but well, she's right in the other room. I don't know, but I don't know if unless retiring is playing golf 3 days a week, she's pretty good at that. So she runs. I mean, she does all the books and everything here. Does a lot with Schrader Racing, but I don't think she's worked a real job, and it's been years.
Rex Merritt wants to know who the new guy is on the show.
Well, I am new compared to Rex Merritt. Feel like a youngster. Last year, a couple years ago, the boys were welding a Camaro clip on a 1990 something Bullet late model. We're going to take this thing to Springfield, Illinois, and run it a mile. So we had some old questions, so we had to call Rex. Anytime we're really screwed up, we call Rex because Rex, he just knows.
Yep. Rex has a lot of experience.
Yeah, that's a very nice way to say he's old.
Jim Bailey, do you have time for the fire extinguisher story from your second book?
We were at Monroe or Portland? Monroe. We're at Monroe, Washington. I was running truck up there on Sunday. They had a Saturday night race. Speedway asked us if we'd run it. They had me a good car. Forget who's the guy from out west that used to build the scales.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it was his car, but I had to run Goodyears. Everybody was on Hoosiers. I mean, there might have been two of us in Goodyears, three of us. But anyway, we were screwed. We managed yellows and everything worked out. So it's 100 laps. We got the lead with 90 laps, and only got 10 to go. We'd been leading for a while, but they're on us. And a restart, a kind of jump start a little bit, buy me a couple laps. We got a restart with like 4 to go. There's no way. I cannot hold them off for 4 laps. Well, I looked around. The fire extinguisher's right there. Well, that's the old days where you just the little fire extinguisher handheld, just grab it. So I grabbed it, and stuck it between my legs, and pulled the pin out. And with like 2 to go, coming up, I looked in the mirror, coming off 2, and the guy's right up. He's underneath me, so it's like he's got me when we go into 3. I just held that thing up to the net and just squeezed it. And all stuff came out. He checked up. And they didn't throw no yellow because I didn't drop nothing. And, I've got 6, 7 car lengths, was able to make it for another lap and a half and won the race. And Gib Repass was the Northwest Tour director. He said, man, we thought you blew up there, but then you never slowed down. I said, Gib, I pulled the fire extinguisher. He said, well, hell, there's no rule against that. And I said, well, I didn't know of one. And he said, that's a pretty good job. That's pretty good thinking. But just got to, you look around, it's like going in a turn. If there's cars down here and up there, you just kind of got to go in the middle. You got to go where they're not. And you got to use everything you can. That's all that fire extinguisher. And I thought that was going to help me.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Rick, Kenny, are you going to run Mississippi Thunder's $100,000 race? Maybe you and Herman should enter that, make it happen.
We're not going to be there because we're doing some federated days then. So we're not going to be there. Not a big fan of those races, by no means. I mean, it's neat. Somebody's going to lead with $100,000. If he'd have left with 5, he'd have been happy too. It's the big entry fees and got got to be there for however many days. They throw a practice day in. I don't know how many days it is. It's got to be at least 3, I would think. I just don't, no matter how much we might have some people want to make modified the professional touring series, they're not, and there's not that many people. And you really get down to it, there's not that many people that make money late model racing or sprint car racing even. I mean, where the operation makes money. And it's a long way from it happening in the modifieds yet. So I'm not sold on all those quote big modified races.
Barrett, do you change your driving style when you go from track to track?
No. Okay, I've had some pretty good jobs driving. You don't have to be that smart to do this job. I've never had an IQ test, You only got a steering wheel and a couple pedals that do anything. You just try to go around the circle faster than the other people. It's not a genius job.
Let's see here. How much did you enjoy racing in Arizona?
I always have enjoyed Arizona. We used to go out there for years for Copper Classic. It was the first weekend of February, last weekend of January. Then we started going out to run Casa Grande and Yuma in January. I always look forward to going to Arizona. A friend of ours, Brad Whitfield, has Casa Grande now and Kokopah Speedway Raceway in Yuma, and they've got a lot of stuff going good out there.
Yeah, I was out there the first week the modifieds were at Kokopah.
Mm-hmm.
Froze my ass off.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, it's not so warm out there.
No, it was cold.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kristen says, thanks for the memories at I-35 Speedway in Mason City in 1988. Working with Kelly Chirac, you took the win. My family promoted the event. This year, my son Garrett Wilson's modified built by Chirac captured the memories with a picture from that event. Thanks for being a part of racing history, Kenny. You are one of the best.
Well, I thank for that comment. I know I'm one of the oldest, but don't want to quit.
Well, what else would you do?
Yeah, I know. My wife says that I'm not that damn good a driver, but that's the best skills I've got. Yeah.
Well, at least she's got confidence.
Yeah, got confidence.
Hey, so before we went live, you were talking about your previous weekend and a couple of your note taking what you do what you race things. So I'd like you to share the 3-letter ones so these guys can use them in their notes, because we're big on taking notes and documenting your changes and that kind of stuff, and I thought those were great.
Well, everybody knows that DNS did not start and DNF did not finish. So I think I had to explain our two to you, didn't I, Chad? I don't think you had them, but we got GBD sometimes. GBD. That's what we did this Saturday. It was a good business decision just to load it up. And then when things go real bad, we have POQ. And that's just pissed off and quit. And I got that from Terry Labama. We were leaving the track, a bush race, 1900-something. And I walked by him. I said, what happened? He said, POQ'd. And I spent all week trying to figure out what POQ'd was. And he told me what it was.
So I had those 3-letter things back in the 90s. See, now it's LOL and LMFAO and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out all these shortened up things are.
Yeah. Who is the one ex-football player that's on some of the morning shows? Michael Strahan? Strahan?
Yeah.
His mom texting, ambulance just picked up your daddy. His heart doesn't feel right. LOL. And LOL, because I mean, I've always thought, laugh out loud, right? Is it? I mean, that's what I always thought.
Yeah.
She thought with lots of love. So it, wasn't the right 3 letters for the situation, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in tonight. Thank you, Ken, for coming on. I appreciate that, making our 100th episode special. And
Yeah, we made it special, all right.
I've always enjoyed the fun and the times, and
Well, we've had fun.
one quick question, Kenny, biggest eye-opening or aha moment you ever had owning a track?
There's more nights that you wish you didn't than you're glad you do own it. Yeah,
I can imagine.
they're all eye-opening. You just wonder what's going to happen next.
Well, good luck when you come to Bloomfield this weekend or this week. And,
All right, sir.
all right. Thanks,
We will
Chad.
see you guys later. Thanks, Chad.
Yep.
See you.
Thank you.
Bye.